Our last presenter is Noelle Bartlett.
When you turn on a car, do you even know what's actually happening? You're just turning a key, or so it seems. What about when you speed up or slow down? There are a variety of simple things we tell the car to do with just an easy single movement, like pushing your foot in the pedal or pressing a button. Half the time, you have no idea what's really happening when we do these things. But while we have the easy job of just telling the car what to do, dozens of controllers on the inside of the car are performing very complex functions to make sure what you want done gets done. For the past semester, I have been researching, conducted interviews, written a research paper, and have become knowledgeable over the topic of car controllers. I chose this topic because I hope to be an electrical engineer in the future, and this project has helped me to get an early idea of what I might be dealing with later on. Hello, my name is Noelle Bartlett, and this evening I will be talking to you about the purpose of each controller, how they work, and how they communicate and share information. There are many controllers in a car. A controller simulates what you might do to have an effect on something else. Although there are several controllers in a car, there are many a few people might recognize. These include the transmission control, cruise control, climate control, media control, and many others. But the most important of the controllers are the ones that make you go, make you stop, and keep you safe. The engine, the brake, and the airbag controller. The main purpose of the engine controller is to keep the balance of fuel and air in check. When gas is burned in tubes called cylinders, there has to be the right amount of fuel and air. This controller is constantly balancing that ratio using sensors that basically have one simple job: to detect if the balance is too high or low of one thing and adjust it accordingly. Another main purpose of the engine controller is to manage the power in the engine using a system called the four-stroke cycle. The four-stroke cycle is how the engine controller works to burn gas to make power for the car. The first stage is intake. A valve opens and the mixture of fuel and air is sucked into the cylinders. The second stage is compression. A piston moves up the cylinder and compresses the mixture. The third stage is combustion. A spark plug ignites the compressed mixture and it basically explodes, causing the piston to move down the cylinder. Combustion is the stage that makes power for the car. For the fourth and final stage, exhaust, another valve is opened and the burned mixture goes out the cylinder. However, there is one problem with this cycle. Although combustion makes power for the car, the other stages actually take power away. Then, as a result, a lot of gas is being burned, but not that much power is being produced. So unless the car is supposed to burn power faster than it can make it, there has to be multiple cylinders in a car. Each cylinder is on a different stage in the four-stroke cycle so that combustion is happening at different times. Because of this, power is being gained a lot faster. The engine controller carries out its purpose using many things. Sensors, for one, because without them, you would have a pretty dumb vehicle. It couldn't detect things that needed attention, couldn't tell the controller what to do, and there are many more important things that would be useless without the sensors. Things the sensors pick up on include the ratio of fuel to air, the temperature of the engine, and plenty of other things. Another key aspect of how the engine controller carries out its purpose are the actuators. The actuators are the physical components that actually carry out what the engine controller is telling them to do. Without the actuators, the car would be able to sense things, but nothing could physically get done. The main purpose of the brake controller is to control the hydraulics of the braking system. When dealing with hydraulics, the main thing to understand is the hydraulic fluid. The hydraulic fluid is a solution of liquid being pushed into the calipers when you hit the brake pedal in order to stop the car. Another main purpose of the brake controller is to determine which wheels need braking. Although cars have one brake pedal, without this controller it would have four, one for each wheel. The brake controller determines which wheels need braking depending on the situation, because sometimes not all four wheels need braking. Without this controller, you would have to decide that yourself. The brake controller carries out its purpose using sensors and actuators. Pretty much any working controller can do what it's supposed to do because it has sensors and actuators. Most of the time, these sensors are constantly communicating with the controller. Some of the most important details of these controllers, these sensors are telling the controller, include the wheel speed and wheel angle to sense if the car spins out. If so, the brake controller will push hydraulic fluid into the calipers. The calipers, touching the brake pads, squeeze them together. The brake pads are squeezing the rotor, which from the intense friction cause the wheel to stop. The harder you push the brake pedal, the faster the car will come to a stop. The main purpose of the airbag controller is to detect impact in the car with another object. It can determine whether the collision was severe enough that the airbag was necessary. Also, this controller is different from the rest of the controllers for one reason. While the other controllers are connected through a communication system, this controller is not. It is deployed using sensors that don't typically need info from the other controllers. The airbag controller uses sensors and actuators to carry out its purpose. It has sensors wired all around the car. These sensors know the speeds the car typically drives, even speeds on the faster side, and recognizes them as normal driving speeds. When sensing of a sudden acceleration is a car speeding up to get on the freeway, slamming on the brakes to let the squirrel cross the road, or a car crash, the airbag controller will go off of one measurement, the amount of G's on the car, where 1 G is equal to Earth's gravitational pull on an object. So for example, if you slammed on the brakes as hard as you could, the car would be experiencing about 1 G from deceleration. If you were driving on bumpy roads, the car would be experiencing about 5 Gs from vibration. But if you were in a collision, the car would be experiencing about 20 Gs, sometimes higher. If the amount of Gs on the car was that high, the airbag controller would know that the airbag was necessary in order to keep the passengers safe. If the airbag is activated even a second too late, the passengers are at high risk of getting severely injured. The airbag might hurt, but it hurts a lot less than hitting a dashboard. There are a lot of controllers in a car, but are they all independent? They have to share information, but how? They all use one communication system called the CAN bus. The CAN bus is hooked up to all of the controllers and makes it so that each controller doesn't have to be hooked up to every other controller in the car. Its only purpose is to share data between the controllers. Some put data on, others take it off. The CAN bus retains all that information so that if a controller needs to access something that was put on the CAN bus a while ago, it can get to it at any time. The CAN bus is able to determine the importance of a message going through it, so that if a message of high importance is put on the CAN bus, it can detect that and send it before a message of little importance. So for example, slam on the brakes goes a lot faster than turn on the radio. However, the CAN bus is set up so that the message of little importance will still go through very fast. The fastest a message can go through the CAN bus is between 5 and 10 milliseconds, and that is only for the urgent messages. Everything in a car is complex and has a purpose. It took intelligent minds to think of the inner workings of a car. If something as complex as a car had to have a creator, shouldn't something as complex as humans have one too? Psalms 139, 13 through 14 says, "For you created my inmost being, you knit me together in my mother's womb. I will praise you, for I have been fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, I know that full well." God created every aspect of us and has a purpose for us. It would, just like each controller in a car. It would be crazy to think that the inside of a car happened completely by accident, but some people think that about humans. The theory of evolution tells us that we are basically here because of an accident. It's no different. Something as elaborate as a human had to have a creator, just like something as elaborate as a car did. To wrap up, there are many important controllers in a car. All these controllers have improved over time to be the most beneficial in size, fuel efficiency, and cost. They all communicate and share information using the CAN bus. While we have the easy job of just telling the car what to do, dozens of controllers on the inside of the car are performing very complex functions to make sure what you want done gets done, and very fast. Although the way a car looks on the outside may seem very advanced and remarkable, there's nothing more impressive than the things that are not necessarily seen, the controllers, that make anything the car is supposed to do possible. First, I would like to thank God for getting me through this project. I would like to thank my family for encouraging me and for all advice given to me. I would like to thank my teachers for revising and editing all of my papers. I would like to thank my interviewees for all their time in helping me to get useful information for this project. Finally, I would like to thank all my listeners. Thank you. Questions? Yes.
After researching for this project and learning all about it, does that make you want to do this as a career less?
No,
Or does it make you want to do it more?
it makes me want to do it more because at first I chose this topic because I wanted to know if I would actually enjoy doing this for a living, and it's really interesting, and I think I would like going into a career like this. Yes.
I know I'm old, but do you think there'll be driverless vehicles in my lifetime?
Yeah. A lot of times people think that the cars, that kind of stuff in the future is far away, but it's actually pretty close. People are working on that technology pretty much right now.
I'm just grabbing it, no joke.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.